Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
The opposition leader again calling for more clarification into the signing of this Oban heads of agreement.
A look at the Bahamas Christian Council's proposed amendments to the sexual offenses bill.
$40 million for a new bridge in Eleuthera. Find out the details straight ahead.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to our news. Thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, opposition leader Philip Davis stopped short of calling for the Prime Minister's resignation today as he doubled down on his call for ministers to table the Oban heads of agreement signed by its non-executive chairman Peter Krieger. If the Prime Minister refuses to table the controversial document, Davis says the opposition will request a House Select Committee to probe the deal. Kyle Joaquin has more.
During his monthly press briefing here at PLP headquarters, opposition leader Philip Davis said there are a lot of questions surrounding this heads of agreement. He said tomorrow when parliamentarians meet, he expects the Prime Minister to at least table the heads of agreement he says Peter Krieger signed or give a little more clarification. Davis said whatever the answers to the many questions surrounding the $5.5 billion oil refinery project, in his view, this issue represents fundamental dishonesty. And if this had happened in any other country, the leader would have to go.
The country is entitled to implicitly rely on the word of a Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has an ethical responsibility to tell the truth. He has a legal responsibility not to mislead the House. In any other developed system of parliamentary democracy, this would be grounds to move a vote of no confidence and censure the Prime Minister and the government for materially misleading the country and the House.
The opposition leader once again calling on the Prime Minister to table the ceremonial agreement signed by Oban's non-executive chairman Peter Krieger, who was shown signing the name of the company's president, Sat Paldana. He signed that document while sitting next to the Prime Minister, who looked on. Davis says if the Prime Minister fails to table the agreement signed by Krieger, the opposition will request a select committee to probe the entire Oban matter.
We may call for a select House committee to look into the matter. They may not agree to have that done, and then the other option will likely be, since the agreement that they've entered to could impact our fiscal standing, that the Public Accounts Committee may have to call in and have a review of the matter to report.
Oban Energies, having been the subject of headlines over the past 2 weeks, placed an ad in newspapers today. It said, "It is safe to say anytime something new and big comes along in the Bahamas, it becomes the subject of great scrutiny in the public domain until matters reach a point where facts and fiction are no longer discernible from each other." The company also boasts that the project will improve the country's GDP by over 10% per annum, saying, in the construction phase alone, Oban Energies intends to inject over $35 million into the Grand Bahamian economy through contributions to national insurance, community development initiatives, housing, lease premium and rental payments, research, education, and training. The math, according to Davis, doesn't seem right. The opposition leader was asked how a PLP government would handle the multi-billion-dollar project.
We've called upon them to clean this act up. If it's cleaned up by the time we are in office, and we see that it is inuring to the benefit of the Bahamian people, right, it would not be right for us to stop it. But if it continues in the manner in which it does, it's more likely that it would not continue.
For our news, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Well, as government seeks to criminalize marital rape, the Bahamas Christian Council has submitted proposed changes to the Sexual Offenses Act. Church leaders also submitted a companion bill, which calls on the government to reinforce the sanctity of marriage. Vonique Toot reports.
The Bahamas Christian Council still has not clearly stated its position on government's efforts to criminalize marital rape. However, church leaders presented amendments to the Sexual Offenses Bill in addition to a Sanctity of Marriage bill. Their recommendations include life imprisonment for some forms of abuse and a tax reduction incentive.
There will still be some who are dissenting view on this. What we're trying to do as the Christian Council is to do our mandate. It's one of our mandates constitutionally, is to engage the state when they ask for input from the Christian collectively. I don't want to say that by answering a request, we just carte blanche support. When we see the final bill, there will be another vote, and that will be the council's positions.
With the help of its legal team, headed by attorney Michael Allen, members of the Christian Council dissected government's proposed bill, which seeks to amend the Sexual Offences Act to strengthen the offense of sexual intercourse by procuration. Under the bill, a person who has sexual intercourse with their spouse without the consent of that spouse commits an offense and is liable to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 10 years. However, Allen says in some cases, the punishment should be life imprisonment.
There's a proposal before the government from the council that there be a potential maximum sentence of life imprisonment for the abuse. I think the bill has been circulated. The most recent draft was suggesting a 10-year amount.
Allen says the sentencing tribunal should have a full range of options, like counseling for minor infractions, but there must be a strong response to egregious forms of abuse.
We can't have a situation where the quote-unquote sweetheart is in a better position. If she is abused, the penalty can be life imprisonment. If the spouse is abused, the penalty is 10 years. So we didn't want spouses in any way to be in any manner prejudiced by the fact that they're married.
Then there's the Sanctity of Marriage Bill, which essentially seeks to govern marriages by establishing a Marriage and Family Advisory Council to advise the Social Services Minister, and calls for a marital duty of care, which calls on the parties in a marriage to treat their spouse with due regard, care, and respect, and demonstrate a commitment to meeting the needs of their spouse.
As a church, we don't just want to give these ideas to the state and sit back and watch. We are now going to mount a national campaign to assist in marriages.
The Sanctity of Marriage Bill also recommends a 10% reduction in real property tax, car licensing fees, or driver's license fees for a married couple that lives together.
We hear beyond the proponents who are trying to make mischief. We have realized there's some real cases out there. And what we want through the help of the Christian faith is to make our country healthy again. That's all we purport to do. No games, no gimmicks. We're not politicians.
The Christian Council president says while he does not expect government officials to accept all of their recommendations, he appreciates the level of dialogue and awaits the final draft. Reporting for our news, I'm Voining Tude.
And a team of engineers on Eleuthera is evaluating a major breach to a roadway on that island. As Jared Higgs tells us, this comes as concern mounts over the condition of the storm-worn glass window bridge.
This is the Queens Highway in Eleuthera, Gregory Town, an area called the Sand Pit. You can see those people standing on the main highway, and the sea has cut across the road.
As a video showing a massive waterway flowing through a major road on Eleuthera goes viral, Works Minister Desmond Bannister says a team of experts are on the island, and quite frankly, they are blown away by their findings.
We have some engineers on the ground as of this morning in Eleuthera. They found some shocking conditions that impacted the roads in North Eleuthera, and they're going to be reporting back to us. In one place, just down from the bridge, they have an area where the water has cut through the road almost 8 feet deep.
Our news understands this dissecting river is cutting through Queens Highway near Gregory Town. This breach comes as rough seas began battering the glass window bridge on Sunday, resulting in its eventual closure. Bannister says it's likely that a completely new structure will have to be built.
Well, the only thing we could do is look at the bridge and see whether it's structurally sound. If it's structurally sound, then we will do whatever we can to make it possible. But the reality is the long-term solution is with building a new bridge, which could cost in the region of $30 to $40 million.
Residents haven't been able to cross the bridge since early on Sunday, and Bannister says they're using the waterways to get them to and fro.
I understand that they have some ferry service, but obviously the Ministry of Works has to take it very seriously and see what we can do about creating a safe passage for people in that community. And also, as I indicated earlier, we have to look at a long-term solution. A glass mirror bridge is not something that should be in our long-term plans. We need to budget this year to construct a real bridge there.
The hazardous conditions near the bridge have made for a very dangerous situation. A 19-year-old man from Michigan is missing after being swept away by the rough waves while his travel companion was able to cling on to rocks and climb back up to the main road. According to police, the U.S. Coast Guard is assisting in the search, and investigations into this matter continue. Reporting for our news, I'm Jared Higgs.
Opposition leader Philip Davis says he has written the CEO of accounting firm Ernst & Young in the United Kingdom concerning their Bahamas office's engagement in forensic audits of public accounts of government ministries and selected public corporations. This comes a week after Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis advised Davis to keep silent in Parliament because he is reportedly named in an audit of the Water and Sewage Corporation.
Because I'm concerned that Ernst & Young is perhaps being unwittingly used, right, to advance the political witch hunt of this government.
Last week, Minnis did not say to what extent the audit names Davis, nor did he speak to its contents. Last year, the government ordered numerous forensic audits into various government entities. Davis questioned the motive and timing.
If they deem it necessary to do so, the only question I'd want them to answer us is what process did they engage into in selecting E&Y to be their forensic auditor? Did they have a transparent process for selection? Did they go to bid or not?
Still to come on our news, government moves to rid communities of shanty towns, plus cleanup efforts underway following monster waves on New Providence. That's coming up when our news returns.